Hello, everyone. This is Megan,
And this is Alana. Wow, that was really extra.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes. It's just the right amount of extra.
We letting the music die down?
Yeah, just let that slow. Just give it some time. And good. Okay, how you doing?
Howdy, partner.
Oh Lord, help us. You've adapted a Southern persona for today. We're in for a treat.
Yep. But it's more Texas than Louisiana, let's be honest. They don't say howdy down here.
Okay.
My dad sometimes says howdy, though, and he's not from Texas.
The mysteries just continue to fall into our lap here at Tea Time Crimes.
Perfect.
Well, how are you doing today? What's new?
What's new? My parents are coming into town soon. That'll be fun.
Cool. Mr. Howdy himself. You excited?
Yeah, Mr. Howdy himself. Yes, it's going to be great. And my dog, Noke, is going to be thrilled to see them. She hasn't seen them since Christmas. So I'm really happy about that.
I love Noke.
She's the best.
She is the best. And Noke loves me.
Yes, she does.
She's so cute. Yeah, she does.
She was loving on you when you visited last year.
I know. The other animals are pretty indifferent to me, but Noke's like, hey, what up? Gives me cuddles.
You guys got history.
Yeah, we're used to work together.
Yeah, you did. She was right next to you.
Do you remember that fateful day?
Which one?
We were in like a stand-up meeting, me, Alana, and a third person, and Noke kind of got in between, and I was in the middle of describing, like, so what we need is for this element to work here, and Noke got in my way, and I said, and we're little tushy butt. And the person thought I was talking to him, and he immediately moved because he was standing next to me and looked absolutely terrified that I raised my voice 18 octaves and call him tushy butt. And I looked at him, I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, I'm just getting out of your way. I was like, dude, I was talking to the dog. You think I would call you tushy butt? Holy moly. What is my reputation around this place?
So good.
Yeah, Alana died. Melted into a puddle of laughter at my awkward office interactions. That's her favorite thing to enjoy. All the time.
We were just talking and I was like, I wish I recorded something so I could watch it now.
Oh my God. I don't know why. I don't feel that awkward.
You're not an awkward person, but weird things would always happen because we had other awkward coworkers, and then you just put it all together and it was great. Popcorn galore.
This guy was fantastic. I don't know what made him think I would scream tushy butt at him. It's like, have I done anything? Is my behavior made you think that like that's a normal, okay workplace act for me to just yell and call somebody tushy butt?
I feel like our team just got a weird label.
I guess. I don't know, but yeah. And Noke looked at me like, ooh, girl, that was embarrassing. And she did not move. She refused.
She's like, butt did not move.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to stay here. Obviously, you're talking to that gentleman because I'm awesome.
God. That's so good.
Yeah, it was great. I'm glad you liked it, you weirdo.
Yeah, I loved it. Oh.
You jerk.
If Noke was in here, I'd give her a high five.
Yeah, you two set me up on that one. It was real teamwork. Real teamwork. Lordy. Well, over here, we're into football season now, so you know what that means for
Vols.
Me. Oh, Lord help me. Yeah.
Good old Rocky Talk.
Yeah. My husband has started his own podcast because he's obsessed with me. God, I know. Get your own life.
Why are you so obsessed with us?
Why are you so obsessed with everything we do, Brad? It's called Good Old Rocky Talk, I think. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's obviously about Tennessee football. So I don't know that we've got a lot of crossover audience. but
maybe. We have some Tennessee listeners.
That's right. We do. And hello, Tennessee. I'm a Vol fan by default, and I wear orange every Saturday. I will say, my husband also runs a group called Vol Society, and has quite a few followers, and they do like a weekly show. And every week, the guy who does the weekly show, his name is David, he will say, and if you want to listen to Tea Time Crimes, and he'll give us a shout out, which I think is so sweet. Yeah.
Oh, what a sweetie Petey.
I know. It's so cute. And he calls me Mrs. Frank, which is adorable.
Aww.
Because that to me is my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And then I just imagine my mother-in-law having a true crime podcast, and then my mind goes, wow, it'd be the best. Wouldn't it be the best?
We should have her on as a guest.
Yeah, we should. Oh, she's so great.
Oh my God.
Could you
She'd
imagine?
be the best audience in the world.
She'd be like, oh no, that's not gonna fly with me. Nope.
I would love
destroying.
That.
She'd be destroying the criminals.
Oh.
She'd tell them what's up. Yeah.
Yes, she would.
Yeah.
Yes, she
would.
Anyway,
so it's football time, getting into it.
Yeah.
And I call people to sheep out at work.
Yep. It's just the thing.
That's all we got. What do you got for tea today?
Okay, excuse me. You see, here's the problem.
Oh God.
So Megan, when she does her editing, because she does 97% of the work on this podcast.
Not true.
You're right, 98. So she'll be like, she always has to cut out my like coughs and throat clearings, but really it's your fault, Megan.
Why is it my fault?
Because you make me laugh so much, and then I get wheezy, and then I get more coffee. Coffee, cough, -y, not FFW.
So whose fault is it that I have to cut out dialogues like this? That might be on you.
Anyways, today we're going to China. Let's see. In the Yunnan, do they call them provinces?
You always have before.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where exactly is that province located? Can you give me the latitude and longitude? There, how's it feel?
Okay. So it's Grand Yunnan Imperial tea.
I feel like you've done this one before.
No.
Are you sure?
Hold on. Let me double check. I don't think I have.
I specifically remember the Yunnan.
Well, but there's multiple teas from there. Let me look in our drive.
Well, obviously, they have the one and only tea that everybody can drink.
The one Yunnan. I haven't had it before, but I did think about that this morning.
Do you have a spreadsheet of the teas you've already reviewed?
I don't, but that's a great idea. I have a bag. I have a bag full of the ones that I can have, and it says Tea Time Crimes on it. It's a collection. Anyways.
Yep, go ahead. Take us back.
It's a delicious, mellow, and honeyed black tea. So it sounds nice. It's delicious in the morning.
Just garbage at night?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. So, those nighttime taste buds.
We're still in the morning. We're okay. But God forbid, post 11:59, do not drink this. So it's a black tea. It's mellow. I did bring a little milk. I'm going to try without and then with. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Okay, everybody calm down.
I'm concerned with the mellow factor. You're going to be low on the bod.
Do you like my cup? Watch me spill everything over and break my computer.
Oh my gosh. That's a great cup.
It is a great cup.
It says best dog mom ever, and I might have gotten it for her.
Yes, because she's best friend ever. It doesn't... Hold on, let me get a good breath to sniff.
Yeah, really take your time here.
I really can't get much. It's too mellow.
No aromas. I'm worried. You and mellow don't go hand in hand.
God. I steeped it for the right time, it said to. 4 minutes. I mean, I can smell the black tea. I can smell it, but there's not much around it. All right, it's definitely a black tea. It's a little delicate, and there's not many other flavors. Hold on.
It's too delicate for your hefty palate.
Like, it does sit nicely.
Yeah, just gets cozy right on in there. Crisscross applesauce right on the tongue.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm going to put a little milk in it. There is another note coming through. It's hard to identify. Too mellow. I'm just putting a little bit, and I know our viewers love this.
Yeah. Again, because the problem being that they're not viewers. That's always been your problem, right? They're listeners, which is why they don't care what your teacup looks like or what you're doing when they can't hear you.
I think I like it without the milk.
Oh, no, and we can't de-milk.
But I can smell more of it now.
It makes
the notes are coming
sense.
through more. Well, maybe he was invigorated by the milk.
It might be in your head.
You know what? You're in my head. That's so much worse with a milk.
Your
That was a mistake.
And you have to drink it because you have weird rules.
But I'll take this over last week. Was the Panther energy Jaguar?
Oh right, yeah, you got really mad
because that was sealing water, and then I will take anything over that cold brew.
Cold brew, you loved it.
What if I put more milk in it?
More
I'm
milk?
just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it.
The rational thinking here is blowing my mind. I can't follow this train of thought.
All right, one more sip and then we can get going.
No, let's just stay here listening to you drink all day.
It does something to the texture of the tea.
That makes zero sense.
No, it's like more sticky and grabby instead of just like gently sitting on the tongue. It's like grabbing its fingers on the top of my mouth and like refusing to leave, but not in a good way. Don't put milk in this tea. Otherwise, it's fine. It's a nice, mellow, delicate black tea. Don't put milk in it. Thanks for the instructions.
Let's give it a before milk rating.
I mean, it's a thumbs up.
Okay. No adjective?
No, just a thumbs up.
Gotcha.
No frills.
No frills. All right.
We're not excited about it, but we'll drink it.
Yeah, because your face looks like that. It's going to be enjoyable.
Once you put the milk in, it's over. Don't do it.
Why don't you add more milk to it?
I did.
Just more and more till it's just milk.
Yeah, just
the tea's an afterthought.
Oh, man. Grave mistakes.
Okay, are you ready for today?
We're here with my sticky grabby tea.
Delish. All right. I'm going to tell you the story of Susan Walters today.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to dive right in.
Oh, boy.
Okay? Buckle up.
Let's go.
Let's really test the boundaries of our friendship today.
No.
In the late 1980s, Susan Walters was a 33-year-old ER nurse in Oregon who happened to be single. I don't like to boil everybody down to their job and their relationship status because I'm not Facebook, but that's important for later on, okay? But in addition to those details, Susan was dependable, dedicated to her job, compassionate, kind. She had this big personality and this big laugh. She would take in comedy shows around the area and sit right up front, which I'm sure the comics loved because she's, quick to laugh and her laugh would fill the room. She's probably a favorite down at the club. And in January of 1988, Susan's mother and one of Susan's friends decide that Susan needs a little help in one area of her life.
Romance.
Yeah, you guessed it. So even though, like I said, she's got this really welcoming, big personality, she's pretty shy about her love life and really cautious, which is thought to have been because her parents divorced when she was 7. And at that time...
So love never lasts.
At that time, that's really unusual. So it would have stuck out a little bit more than it would today. Plus... Because
they would be boomers.
Yeah. Well, she's 30 in the 80s, so...
Okay. Maybe they're the great generation.
In addition to getting divorced, they also moved around a lot, and the custody arrangement seemed to shift. It wasn't super stable. Like, it wasn't like 1 week here, 1 week there. It kind of went kind of back and forth. And she loved her parents, and they loved her. It just didn't provide her a great example, and she was real hesitant.
Right. Sure.
In that area. So Susan's mom and Susan's friend, they 1988 Tinder her. They take an ad out in the paper in the personals.
Oh, God. If my mom and friend did that.
Yeah. It is unclear if Susan knew this was happening and was okay with it, let them do it, or if it was a surprise. I'm not sure. Never came out. But here's what the ad
I feel like my
read.
mom would do this if I was still single.
Oh, my God. I would love to be the friend who helped your mom do this.
You totally would. You two would do that.
Oh, my God. Well, sorry, Chris.
You'd have so much fun.
Jackie, let's get together. Anyway, the ad read, someone different. Single white female, 33. Overweight but not over life. Seek single male who wants more out of a relationship than just slender. Your face, what? There's more.
Overweight, but not over life is one of the best taglines. Somebody should steal that and put that on their Tinder immediately. Holy man. That's amazing.
Active healthcare professional. Enjoys exploring, interested in conversation, good times with someone who is intelligent, thoughtful, and full of humor. Must be emotionally, fiscally mature. If you are seeking a bright, funny lady who is adventurous enough to advertise, then please reply. Thoughts?
Well, obviously this is going to get her killed.
Those are only thoughts?
Because we're on a true crime podcast. But otherwise, I'd be excited about it. Well, not excited, interested. Well, I'm still interested, but now I'm worried.
So Susan receives many replies to her ad, but one in particular is from a gentleman named Mike Conhausen. And he writes, "Hi, different. My name is Mike. I'm a 39-year-old divorced white male. I enjoy most things in nature, from wandering in the ape caves at Mount St. Helens to walking on the beach at sunset." I don't know if there's more to it, but that's all that was shared. On January 30th, so within that same month, the two talk on the phone for the first time. And Susan likes what she hears immediately. Literally likes the sound of his voice. He's very soft-spoken, but she also likes what they talk about. It's not, that awkward getting to know you. So what do you do for work? They actually dive right into deeper topics. Mike's easy to talk to. They hit it off. Susan actually draws a smiley face in her kitten day planner that day. So Susan and I are long lost friends. Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. They spend hours on the phone, probably at least 100 hours.
Wow.
And they meet the following month, so a few weeks later, in person for the first time in a public place. They meet at the Crystal Springs Rhododendron Garden and sit and talk, feed the ducks, feed the squirrels, and actually get to meet each other for the first time. Now, Mike, as he said in his ad, was divorced. He also had 2 children from that previous relationship. He'd served in Vietnam, and he was more of an introvert compared to Susan being an extrovert. But they had lots of things in common. They like to do the same things. They like to talk about the same things. So they really hit it off. And the relationship moves pretty quickly after that. In May of that same year, they decide to move in together.
Wow. So she's ready to be a mom.
Oh, she's a natural. By the end of that year, December 10th, they actually get married in Reno. So they dated a full year. And Susan felt that marriage was one of the biggest gambles somebody could take. And she felt lucky that Mike was willing to take that gamble a second time and with her.
Got it.
That's her take on it. So they get married in Reno. And as you may have guessed, Susan loves Mike's kids like they're her own. Of course she does. She's Susan. And the two families, really get intertwined. So they do a lot of family things, parents, siblings, kids. They have a lot of family dinners, barbecues, outings. They spend a lot of time together. Their families seem to get along. But not too long into the marriage, at first the more adventurous outings start to dwindle. There's no more hiking. There's no more exploring the city. There's no more going out in nature. They kind of slow down and then they stop altogether. So Susan's a little, it's a bummer. But Mike starts a new job a few years into the marriage for Oregon Entertainment, which was the parent company of Fantasy Adult Video. He was head of janitorial services, so I'm not sure if that even comes into play. Does it even matter?
Okay.
But Susan, like you would, she hopes this new job will kind of reinvigorate Mike, as she can tell he's starting to become a little depressed and withdrawn. And so she's hoping this new job will be a good change for him.
Okay.
It does not seem to really affect things at all.
Great.
He starts to confide in Susan that he's not happy. He's never been happy. He doesn't even know what happiness is. And she reports that he said, "Life is a shit sandwich, and every day you take another bite until you die."
Gross. Stop eating it. Also, go to a therapist.
Excellent. Put the shit sandwich down and run to your local therapist. Okay, that's what Alana has to tell you.
Find the baloney. Wait, also hiking, which I love, makes you happy. So don't stop doing it when you're sad.
Yeah.
That's another piece of advice.
Yeah.
Please
Thank
continue.
you. So time goes on. Mike is not only refusing to go out on these nature excursions with Susan, but he's also just refusing to see anybody socially. So there's no more united front as a couple. There's no more going out to dinner with couples. There's no more going to the movies, whatever couples do. And then he starts with a little bit. She continues. She needs it. She's an extrovert.
Okay.
She has to go out. So she continues to go out, but then Mike starts with the questions. Where are you going? How long will you be? Who are you going with? Kind of casually at first, as it always does. But then it escalates, and he starts to be more and more controlling with the questions, but also financially. He would scour over the statements and want Susan to account for every single penny, particularly if she was out with somebody.
Oh, boy.
And not that it should matter, but Susan happens to be bringing in the main income and paying the majority of the bills. So she's well aware of their financial situation. And she knows what they can spend and what they can't.
Get off her fucking back.
She's not spending irresponsibly. She's just having dinner with friends, right?
Shocking.
At this point, others start to notice Mike as well, becoming more suspicious and negative and anxious. So it's not something that just Susan is experiencing at this point. Other people in Susan's family start to notice. I assume his family as well. This goes on for 17 years.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Poor Susan. I mean, poor both of them, but come on, man.
And with each passing year, Mike is more distant, more controlling. The questions become more intense. He spends his days chain smoking, drinking Diet Coke. One of the articles...
They're going to say drinking alcohol, but...
No, Diet Coke. I don't know. One of the articles I read said that Susan reported if she would try to lean in and be affectionate with him, like kiss him or give him a hug, he'd burp Diet Coke in her face.
Ew.
I know, which
would end the marriage for me. Okay, maybe not, but
careful,
that's
Chris.
Not okay.
Control your gas, Chris. Consider this a warning.
It's just
but it's gross. Like, it really stuck with me, that image. Like, what is more offensive than trying to be affectionate and loving? I imagine
somebody just does that to you.
Yeah, and just belches in your face. I imagine Susan's she seems like she'd be this very affectionate, caring, loving person.
Poor girl.
And to not only be denied that need, but to be like insulted by it.
Yeah, that's really rude.
No, thank you. And Susan gets to a point where she just can't take it anymore, and she asks him to go to therapy. And he says, absolutely not. And she
17 years later.
Yeah, she says, well, they do it a little before the 17 years, but she says, well, listen, either it's therapy or divorce for me. I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
So he agrees. But as you can imagine, he's going there just to prolong the inevitable, and she's going there to put in the emotional work. And so when you only have one person putting in the work, and you can't, there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like you're building a house and it just takes longer because you got a slacker over in the corner. I mean, she needs him to be able to meet her emotional needs, and he can't even meet his own, right?
Yeah.
So in the fall of 2005, they have a trial separation. Susan's 50 at the time.
Okay.
Now, Susan tries really hard to make this separation as amicable as possible. I mean, really hard.
She does.
Of course, she's Susan. They share grandkids at this time.
Okay.
So he's welcome at the house. They have family dinners together. He moved in with his parents, so he doesn't live far away for the separation. And they have dinners together. They still continue to see each other. Susan works long hours, so Mike will often go to the house and take care of the cats.
Aww.
Make sure they're fed. He knows the, alarm code. He's got a key. She really tries to keep this friendly and light and breezy. The only thing she asks him, which is totally reasonable, is, hey, please don't go to the house if I'm not there or if I don't know about it, assuming, like for the pet situation.
Yeah.
But other than that, they still are in each other's lives. And the reason Susan had asked that of him is because she was a little concerned that maybe Mike was going through some of her financial statements and things, trying to piece together where she was. And she felt like it was a suspicion she had, which is, you should listen to your suspicions. It was probably true. I don't know why he just suddenly stopped if he's been used to doing that for the last 17 years.
Right.
So that was her one request. I don't think Susan really had anything to hide, though. So I don't think she worried about it too much. If he wants to know that she went to the movies with her friend on a Tuesday, then I guess good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got this separation going, and Susan's just starting to accept the fact more and more that it's time to make this a permanent separation because it's just nothing's changing, and she's ready to be happy again, and she wants Mike to be happy again too. Legitimately,
but that's got to be a bummer for her because she took a gamble when she didn't really, she's always wary about relationships.
Yeah, and she took a gamble, and she's put in the time for 17 years. Yeah. This isn't like it's been 6 months and it's a little rocky. I mean, this is 17 years. They share everything. In 2006, in the fall of 2006, September 6th, to be exact, Susan gets off of work at the Portland ER. And for some reason, she calls Mike, and he seems surprised that she's called him. So I don't know how often they talk on the phone. And he says, hey, I just left a note at your house. Actually, I can't watch the cats over the next couple of days. I need to get away. I'm, having a hard time. I'm stressed. And she says, yeah, no problem. I totally understand. So she continues on to her day. She has a hair appointment. She goes to Perfect Look Hair Salon to get a cut and color, which when you're going...
I don't like how detailed you're being because I know something's going to happen.
Well, when you're going through a hard time, doesn't a haircut help you feel better?
Yeah. Get your nails did, all that.
I know. I mean, I've never had my nails did, but anyway, so she gets her hair done. She's looking good. She gets home. She enters through the back of the house, and in the mudroom, she finds the note that Mike told her about. And it says, hey, I'm having trouble sleeping. I need to get away. I'm going to go to the beach for a few days. I'll see you on the weekend. So she unlocks the kitchen door. She enters it. The alarm goes off. She enters 12:10, which is their anniversary.
Stop. I'm nervous.
She walks from the back of the house through the front of the house, and she opens the front door. She walks outside to go get the mail.
No.
It's just after 6:30 in September. It's a beautiful, cool, calm fall day. She takes a few minutes in the front yard to flip through the mail, which I always do that too. Like I'm going to be getting something super exciting, and I literally never do. But Susan does the same thing, like looks through the mail for a minute, goes inside, puts the mail down, kicks off her shoes. She heads to the back of the house towards her bedroom. And the hallway, it's a like a ranch style hallway with those narrow hallways.
Yeah.
And her room's at the end. She usually opens up the blinds, but today it was too dark, and it's darker than she remembers. And, she's walking down this dark hallway. The door is halfway open.
Stop.
She gets to her bedroom. She pushes the door open. A man jumps out from behind the door, holding a hammer.
Oh, my God.
And he swings it at her.
Oh, no.
Immediately hits Susan in the left temple.
Oh.
In that split second, she realizes that she does not know who this man is, has no idea who he is. And he's wearing yellow cleaning gloves, the rubber ones.
Oh, God.
While he's swinging a hammer.
So creepy.
So she knows it's not good, okay? Now, in this split second, this man is much taller than Susan. Susan's only 5'4". And in this split second, instead of running, her self-defense training from being an ER nurse kicks in, and instead she crowds him.
Oh, rush him.
Knowing that this will lessen the man's power because he won't be able to get a full swing if she's near him. Yeah. Yep. If she's running, he can get a full swing and hit her. So she crowds him, and she yells at him, "Who are you? What do you want?" He doesn't answer her. She throws herself at him, so the two clang against the bedroom wall, and they hit against it, and the man says, "You're strong."
Yeah, bitch.
So Susan thinks to herself, I am strong. And then she fights for the hammer. Yeah. And she gets it from him for a moment. And in that split second, she remembers her father, who was a carpenter, telling her, if you ever need to use a hammer for self-defense, use the backside. So she hits him with the claw side instead of the flat side.
Oh, yeah.
So she gets a couple blows in, but the man gets it back from her.
But that's gotta hurt. He's bleeding for sure.
She then squeezes his throat as hard as she can, still getting up in his face. And she's choking him and squeezing as hard as she can, asking again, who sent you? And he won't answer.
She needs to be screaming at the top of her lungs, help, so she gets back up.
The man turns red. He turns purple. He turns blue. She's a nurse. She knows what's about to happen. She does not want to
He's
kill
gonna
this
die.
man. She releases and she runs.
No.
He does not pass out like she hoped.
Oh, man.
And he catches up to her in the hallway.
No.
He grabs her. He spins her around. He punches her hard in the face, splits her lip. He punches her a second time in succession. Boom, boom. She falls to the ground. As she's on the ground, imagine it, he's standing over with these creepy yellow gloves, and he's got the hammer over his head. He's there clearly with every intent to kill her, and he's enjoying this fight.
But he's not wearing a mask.
No, he has a hat pulled down low, so she can see his face. She does not know who he is. She's able somehow to kick the legs out from under him before he hits her again, and they fall on the ground together. Now, at this point, Susan changes. At this point, Susan has changed her mindset from escaping to leaving evidence behind. She starts biting him to leave her bite marks on his leg, on his arm, any part of his body she can get. She bites as hard as she can. She's scratching him to get DNA under her fingernails. She reaches into his pockets and starts throwing anything in his pockets out so that police will be able to find it later.
So she'd rather die than kill somebody?
No, she's fighting for her life, but she doesn't know that she can win. And she's trying to, if she's not going to win, she wants to make sure this guy's caught.
Oh, man.
She continues to fight. This goes on, estimated, for almost 15 minutes. Could you imagine
exhausting.
how exhausted you are?
If anybody's done, like, if you even do sparring, like boxing sparring, it's the most exhausting 3 minutes. I've never exerted myself harder than, like, fighting for more than a minute is insane.
Yeah.
You, like, see people do it and you don't think anything of it, but you're using your whole body constantly.
Yeah. So this is estimated to go on for about 15 minutes. So in addition to the self-defense that Susan took, she's also been a nurse for 30 years.
Right.
So Susan has spent 3 decades fighting drug addicts, delusional patients, angry patients, restraining patients.
Mm-hmm.
And so somehow in this narrow, narrow hallway, Susan kicks her leg up and gets on top of this man. He's belly down on the ground. His throat is pushing against her left forearm, which is on the floor. And she's leans in and squeezes as hard as she can. Has him in like a chokehold.
Yeah.
And so as Susan got this man in a chokehold, she's fighting for her life. She only leans back to reduce the pressure to allow him to answer as she screams this to him. "Tell me who sent you here, and I will call you a fucking ambulance." He does not answer.
Well, you're not going to get a fucking ambulance, homie.
She leans in harder, and she waits for stillness.
Good.
This time, she realizes that she has to. Finally, everything goes quiet. She gets up,
Good job,
she
Susan.
grabs the hammer, and she runs next door to the neighbors to call him an ambulance. Now, part of the 911 call to the Portland dispatch goes like this. "Neighbor, we have an intruder in the house next door. The intruder was in the bedroom with a hammer. The woman who lives there thinks she may have strangled him. He was down when she left." Dispatch: "Can you put her on the phone?" Neighbor: "She's bleeding." Dispatch: "Does she need an ambulance?" Neighbor: "No, she's a nurse. She says call an ambulance for the guy. He may be dead." So when help arrives, Susan is taken to the hospital because she's been attacked.
Yeah.
Pretty severely.
She got hit in the temple with a hammer. I cannot believe she didn't lose consciousness. That's wild.
Yeah, she's been beaten up pretty bad, but by some miracle, she has no life-threatening injuries.
I am so relieved that this is turning the way it is. I mean, I was sure that she was a goner. Okay. But that was awesome. That was really cool. Self-defense matters.
I know, Susan. And the police confirm what Susan has feared this whole time, is that the man is in fact dead.
Yeah, but she had to do what she had to do.
I know, but that is something that weighs on her very, very heavily.
Of course. It would weigh on anybody who's not a sociopath.
So for a minute, the theory is that it might have been a robbery, but robbers don't typically kill you, and the man never asked for money or tried to had anything.
He just was waiting and got her.
He was just waiting for her. And from that they realized something else is going on. it doesn't take long to ID Susan's attacker as a man named Edward Haffey. He's a Vietnam vet with a long criminal record. Robbery, drugs. In 1991, he'd been arraigned for conspiracy to commit murder against his own girlfriend, and he'd been sentenced to 20 years, but was let out after 9 for good behavior. And it's worth mentioning that Ed's autopsy showed a deadly amount of cocaine in his system, which means he would have been even stronger in that moment that Susan was fighting him. So the story is all over the news, right? Susan's in the hospital for a night. It's all over the news, and guess who does not call to check on his wife? No word from Mike.
No. He told somebody to do it.
No word from Mike. So Susan actually goes home the next day, but she can't stay there until they find Mike. Mike has gone away, and she doesn't feel safe. So as she's packing her clothes, her friend actually finds a backpack in the basement that is not Susan's. And inside the backpack is $200, a bottle of Hershey's syrup. Sorry, Hershey's. Some medication, and a note that says, call Mike, with Mike's cell phone number on it. So the police obviously take that in for evidence, and they start to really dig deep into Ed's life. And it turns out that Ed isn't much of a secret keeper. And he'd been bragging to anyone who would listen that he was about to get $50,000 for killing someone's wife. He told his drug dealer. He asked a former inmate to help him for $5,000. Luckily, that man refused, because even though Susan's amazing, 2-on-1 would have been a different fight.
Oh, yeah, obviously. It would be done.
The police find out that Ed also works at the same company Mike does.
Weren't they both the Vietnam War together? Well, I mean, they're not necessarily buddies.
Yeah, they're both Vietnam vets.
Both
exactly.
Went through that experience.
So the police are super interested in talking to Mike. They also find some witnesses who have seen Mike and Ed outside of work hours meeting up to chat.
Mike, you're done if this is what's happening.
So it takes a little while, but on the 14th of September, the police locate Mike and they bring him in. And Mike said, yeah, I went to the house and I left a note. And yeah, I know Ed. Why? And they're like, really? You're going to go with that story? Okay. And they piece together that their theory is that Mike was expecting to get Susan's life insurance policy and the house. And from that, he would give $50,000 to Ed.
Really?
Susan is immediately granted a divorce, obviously.
Good. But also, I want her to be living somewhere safe right now.
Well, Mike pleads not guilty, but I told you everything that they had. He doesn't really have a chance. So he then decides to change his plea from not guilty to guilty. And he says it's not because he's guilty. It's just so he can get a better deal, because he only has to serve 10 years this way. And he could get off early for good behavior. Now, in Susan's victim impact speech, this is what she said. If I ever believed you deserved to be dead, I would at least have had the balls to kill you myself.
Oh, snaps!
Susan. And this whole charge is kind of BS, because the only reason you can plea bargain to 10 years, maybe less, is because Susan survived. Just because Susan's a badass doesn't mean you should get a break.
That's terrible.
Like, it's not like you were like, oh, thinking about murdering and then you stopped.
Right. You went through with it.
This woman saved your life again, dude. Again, because she was tough. I mean, this is ridiculous. So Mike goes to jail. Ed's dead. Susan has to pick up the pieces from this. She clearly has trauma after this attack. Fear, anxiety, and the pain.
I would be so scared to be in any house alone.
Well, Susan mentions that she said, a lot of people asked me why I didn't move. And eventually she did move, but she said, I didn't want to move then. I needed to move when it was right for me, and I needed to prove that I could get over it. And it took her a long time to be able to walk down that hallway without being scared.
Yeah. Oh.
But she's also dealing with the pain of knowing that she killed a man. And it really, really weighs on her. But she says, after it happened, I immediately began to think about his family. Everybody has somebody who loves them. Children, a wife, a mother, a dad. The worst of this is not that somebody tried to kill me, but that I had to kill someone else to survive. But I had no shame.
She's amazing.
Because I did not choose this death for him. I choose my life. I choose life.
Yeah. Good for
It's
you,
still tough
Susan.
for her, you know? And she takes steps to start to reclaim her power after this awful, awful attack. I mean, imagine surviving this 15-minute assault and then finding out that your husband of 17 years orchestrated it and was going to pay $50,000 for your life.
It's devastating.
This is not like some stranger that she met or somebody she's been dating for a month. This is somebody she was with.
Someone you spent like 20 years of your life with
for
who's
years.
Like, I just want you dead so I can have money in a house. Like that, like being boiled down to that has to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, I rather that you're dead so my life is easier and I don't have to, I can just have what I want. Ugh. So to manage her fears, Susan starts practicing at a gun range. She eventually moves and she adds gravel all around the house so she can hear any footsteps. Mm-hmm. She has cameras installed and she has an escape plan if she ever needs to run because Mike is in jail and
but he's going to come out.
That doesn't stop him from being able to hire another hitman.
Yeah, you're right. You have like a free phone call every day, right? I don't really know how it works.
You use that one phone call. So the other thing Susan does, she also files a civil claim against Mike. And Susan is not doing this because she expects to get money from Mike or she wants to get money from Mike. She's doing this because she wants to make sure that if Mike has any extra money, it's not going towards trying to kill her, but instead it's going to her. So it's another way for her to keep herself safe. She wins. She's technically awarded $50,000 in damages and then $1 million in other damages.
Suck on that.
Which she's never going to see, but she doesn't care. Again, the whole point is just if he somehow comes into money.
No extra money.
It's not going to another Ed.
Mm-hmm.
So after 7 years, Mike becomes eligible for parole. Susan's terrified.
I would be so nervous.
Yeah, she's really nervous. She's thinking, do I need to move? Is he going to come after me again? Is he going to hire somebody?
What about like the protection program?
No, nobody wants to do that. You have to leave everything behind. You can't talk to your family.
Yeah, she would hate that.
And she's just, imagine what that would feel like.
It's so unfair.
So she's worried about it, but she's a woman who likes to do things on her own terms. So she stays put and just decides to wait it out. He is eligible for parole and he's about to be released. 6 months before his release, he actually dies in prison from cancer.
Phew.
Susan says, I don't mourn his passing. Instead, I mourn the life he could have had. If he only could have opened his heart for those of us who cared about him. Wow. Being an imperfect woman, I married an imperfect man thinking we could live together, negotiate, and have a good life. Susan's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's unbelievable. So she still struggles with, what happened. It's not, but the fact that she was forced to kill another human being after she had continues to dedicate her life to literally saving other people. That's her job.
Right.
As an ER nurse. It weighs on her.
Right. Don't they have an oath not to harm? Oh, no, I don't know if nurses have that as well as doctors, but.
Well, I mean, I think it's implied. We've all met Jolly Jane.
We've all met Claire from Outlander on the television. And she can't kill people, remember?
Well, she does.
She refuses to kill people.
Well, she does. So you've walked yourself into a pretty bad example. Anyway, Susan, it weighs on her. So in an interview with Anderson Cooper, she actually received a letter.
Our Anderson Cooper.
I don't know what that means. Do you have an Anderson Cooper?
Because it's in the present day-ish.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's crazy.
Not Anderson Cooper from 1872. No, the current one. She had received a letter from Ed's family.
Oh, God. What does it say?
And she read part of it on Anderson's show. It said, although this was a terrible thing that happened, no one in this family has any hard feelings towards you. You did what you were forced to do, and in doing so, you spared many from the same trauma that you experienced. We wish you well, and may God bless you.
Wow. That's got to be really healing for her.
Yeah, she was really moved by it. I mean,
wow. They didn't have to do that.
No, they did not. And they understand totally that, hey, I mean, it wasn't this, you had to do what you had to do. And
yeah, they had lost their son or whatever to
Ed had made some bad
drug use
choices.
and violence.
Yeah. So Susan is now a victim advocate, and she's working. She was.
You're using the present tense because she's not dead.
She made it. I was just messing with
this
you.
Is awesome.
No one can bring down Susan.
I'm so paranoid this whole time, just waiting.
She was awarded the Citizens Medal of Heroism by the city of Portland. She's a victim advocate. She said, like, in the beginning, she was really supported by the victim advocates and the DA while, like, the whole trial was going on. But afterwards, it was really hard for her to get notice and understand what was happening in prison, because she was thinking to herself, right, I have to move. And if he's going to be released in 60 days, I have to, it was very challenging. So they've created a portal where victims can kind of have access to this information. And she talks, does victim advocacy talks, and she's amazing. If you have a chance to pull up an interview with her, to hear her talk about this, she is this unbelievable balance of empathy and, like, badassery. I can't even explain it. She's just, she does not take this lightly. She felt it was terrifying. It was scary. She hates the choice she had to make. She feels remorse for it, but she realizes she had to do it. And at the same time, she's saying lines like, tell me who sent you and I'll call you an ambulance. She's really well spoken. She's an amazing woman. And I figured you would appreciate this.
I'm thrilled. I loved this. I was so in fear this whole time.
I know. I was just messing with you. She's Susan. Come on now. She's going to take that kitten day planner and tell people what's what. She's not messing around.
That was awesome. Overweight, but not over life, baby.
That's right. And that's exactly.
It's the best tagline.
I know. And she used her strength and her body weight to save her life.
Hell to the yes.
Take that. And she used her training. Like, she had to know. I thought you'd be all over the fact that she was going for the soft part of the body.
She did.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know if you sent her a note or something back in 1988 when you were a fetus, but she knew what was up.
Wow. Yep. Wow.
Go, Susan.
This is amazing. I love this story.
I knew you would. That was for you.
I started this story in dread, and now it's triumph.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, poor Susan.
Hey, she turned it around.
I know. But it's just so much so much crap she had to go through for no reason. Just.
Yeah. People suck.
Yeah. She sounds like an amazing person. She probably was a wonderful wife and probably a wonderful ex-wife.
Yeah. There's some of those people who are just always amazing and affectionate and bright and positive, and, like, that's absolutely her. And for someone to commit violence against that kind of person is just, you can't even conceptualize that.
So the last words that man said were, "You're strong." That's all he said.
Soak that in.
And she was like, "Yeah, I am. Actually, thank you, sir. That's accurate. And I'm going to use that strength now."
Yep.
The fact that she went to the neighbors.
These ovaries, baby.
To call what?
Instead of balls, it's ovaries.
Oh, I get it. She would have had the
balls are sensitive and delicate and weak.
I know. Yeah, I have that problem when people use the derogatory name for a female anatomy, and I'm like, but that makes no sense because it's super strong.
I've started just correcting people now. I bet they love it.
Oh, I know. I love when you correct me, so I can't imagine anyone doesn't enjoy that moment. So fun.
Ovaries.
Yeah, so I wish Susan the best.
Yes.
I read. She also said, she was having trouble with everybody calling her a hero and all this attention that she was getting.
Yeah, because it's that dark spot of this whole thing.
Because she felt bad. It's not something she wanted to do. It's not something she asked for. And her boss actually pulled her into the office one day and he said, "Hey, listen, what you need to maybe think about is that people aren't celebrating the fact that you killed a man. They're connecting with you because they're hoping that if they were in this situation, they could do what you did. And it makes them feel empowered."
Exactly. That's okay. Good boss.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's not like, I killed somebody. It's, I was put in this situation where I had low odds and I survived.
Yeah. Can you imagine? This is the part that kills me. She thought she was going to die. She said that.
And the evidence part. Where
Yeah,
she was
the
trying to
vision
plot
of him standing over her with that
can't.
hammer. She said he looked thrilled to be there, and she knew she would. That's when she thought, I'm going to die today. And she starts reaching into his pockets while she's fighting. She was hoping he had an ID or something, and she was throwing things just to hoping that like his ID would be in there.
Think of that.
I know.
While you're fighting for your life,
I can't.
It's like when people are like writing fight scenes in books, you're supposed to just focus on exactly the action that's going on because it's unrealistic for you to have other thoughts during it. But that's what she did. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. She was still, while simultaneously continuing to fight, she's also thinking, well, okay, evidence, DNA, identification. Let me just tackle all those 3 items.
Real.
Wow.
Check him off the kitty planner.
She was biting him like in the groin.
Ew.
In the arm. I mean, she was going for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, amazing. I love her so much.
I know. Susan's my
I'm sorry you had to do what you did, but
yes.
I'm glad you're still here.
I know. I hope you have total peace about it. And I hope you live in your best life. Go, Susan.
Yeah. Go, Susan.
And go, Susan, for the fact of like having to be subjected to that kind of terrible trauma and obviously not a great previous 17 years and be able to come out of that being so well-spoken and so still compassionate and resilient.
Pure resilience.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Being able to, for other people to just feel that resilience and see it in a real life example. Mm-hmm. There you go. That one's for you, kid.
She's my hero. Oh, Susan.
Susan. I want to get her a new kitten day planner and send it to her.
Yeah.
So do you have any last words for today?
Self-fucking-defense. Seriously.
Ouch.
Seriously, anybody and everybody at any age, there's a lot of free classes sometimes that your city will sponsor. If you live in the middle of nowhere, YouTube, it's a serious resource. Or, pay for classes, join a boxing gym. Megan's trying not to laugh at me. It makes a big difference. Learn to protect yourself. And even if you can't overpower somebody, just fighting back sometimes will scare people off because they don't want to have the possibility of losing and go to jail. So learn something, scream very loudly when you're attacked.
Yeah, that's what I love about Susan is she was immediately interrogating him. She knew she wasn't like you're some rando who's been watching me off the street. Some part of her knew then and there somebody sent you, and she probably assumed it was Mike. That would be my guess. Because who else? I mean, everybody else loves Susan. Come on now.
God, I'm just thinking of some sunshines that I know, and just it's just
some what?
Gross.
Sunshines?
Sunshines.
What the heck is that?
People who are just eternally positive and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
God.
People who are
that's not me. Who are you thinking of?
You can't imagine someone doing something. One of my roommates in college.
Yeah.
The littlest.
Well, maybe you should put some links to self-defense in the
great
show notes.
Idea.
Thank you. Oh my God, you just punched the screen, guys. Self-defense in the computer.
Take that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ugh. Yeah. Well, that was for you because last week was pretty depressing. So
yeah, it was.
I owed you an
uplifting. Tragic. This was,
role model.
This was great. It just totally turned around. I was terrified. Yeah. You really set it up.
I just wanted to mess with you in the beginning.
Yeah, you did. Thanks a lot. I was so scared as she was walking through the house.
I know. Ugh. The fact that he was in there in the room while she's just setting the alarm code, she's getting her mail coming in and out, and the thought that somebody's just
so creepy.
I know, in there the whole time.
I can't.
And he'd probably been in there a while waiting for her.
Stop. No, I can't.
Because Mike was surprised to hear from her, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Because instead she was at the hair salon instead of home, and he was surprised that she called it. She said he sounded surprised.
Piece of shit.
Ugh. Yuck.
Yeah, really gross.
Yuck. Why do you just use a woman like that? Yuck.
Yep.
Get your own life insurance policy. Goodbye now.
Yeah. Get a job. Bye.
You can find us on Facebook. It's still banned because they think I'm not a real person.
What do you mean? For you.
We can't do any ads, but if you happen to find us on Facebook, you need to just take me off all social media. You can also find us on Instagram at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can also email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. Please leave a rating with words, not just stars.
Like a review?
Please. That's what I mean. Yeah, like a review. Exactly like a review. Just exactly that.
Oh, that was great.
Or share. I'll let you. Who should they tell, girl?
They should tell their heroes, like Susan. Their bosses, like Susan's
bosses.
Tell your bosses, okay? Their nurses, their doctors, their neighbors. Who else do we like in this? How about your hairdresser? Why not?
Yeah.
You never know.
Perfect.
That's the list for today. Nobody who is hiding in a closet with yellow gloves. Just avoid that.
No, unless they're mopping the floor. Bye-bye. We don't need you listening.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Alana's jazzed. I made up for her crap tea today with that story.
Yes. I'm pumped.
We will talk to you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Tea Time Crime out.
Goodbye.